Hi, I'm so sorry for being super late, but on the bright side, YouTube started earlier today than TikTok.
Two very
So
famous regions.
my gosh. So I'm here. Sorry. It's my screw up. I'm going to I'm going to also do live on TikTok, but you guys are first. Thank you for being here so early, or rather, thank you for being here on time. And I'm really sorry for being so terrible with time. How is everyone doing? I was kind of, I walked Cine and then I was like cleaning my apartment and I absolutely spaced out on time and space continuum. And I was like, wow, okay. Hi, Peter. Hi, everybody. Oh, I'm so happy that there are people that actually like watching. Yes, you still get any settings on YouTube that you don't get on TikTok. So, you know. Hi, Sammy. Hi, Luann. Hi, everybody. Let me see. So, fun news. We have two keychains that already arrived. James got his, and Yum got his. And I'm assuming that John is going to get his in Canada at some point very soon. Hi, everybody on YouTube. I'm really sorry I created this live stream for 9:30 and then got like gone with the wind, or rather, I was gone with the wind of cleaning and didn't realize what time it was. I'm so sorry. But so yes, so James got his keychain. James, if you're here, let us know. And Yum got his keychain, and so I think John, aka Grumpy, is gonna get his like anytime now. And oh yeah, you guys can see a little Cine sighting too. I see. Okay. Well, there is a larger Cine sighting on YouTube. But yes, so if you would like to see Cine snoring and sleeping, YouTube is the place. But so yes, so we've got 87 updates today. I'm going to record a video later today because you know how I said that I would like to promote small brands that I genuinely love. So there is a coffee shop in my neighborhood. Nobody paid me for it. Nobody did anything for me for it. But so I was at a coffee shop the other day, and the coffee shop is called Coat of Arms. It's in Brooklyn. It's in Williamsburg, and it's really cool because it's basically it's a store from this local Brooklyn designer who's really sweet. He owns the store. He's also the barista at the store, and I stumbled upon it a couple of weeks ago when I was just walking by, and I was like, "Oh, this looks really cool. I want to check it out." So, hi, John. Heroim Slava. So I walked in, and I was like, "Wait, this is a coffee shop and a store." And I was like walking around, and I found this T-shirt that I really liked. But the thing is, like, I don't wear T-shirts like that, but it was like the softest T-shirt I've ever seen, genuinely. And I was like, I don't wear T-shirts like that, but I know who does. John, as in John, my John, not Argos's. I feel like I need to make that distinction. Um, but basically, I was like, oh, John does, so I'm just gonna get one for him. And I got the T-shirt, and well, he didn't have sizes. He was like, oh, we actually sold out of mediums, but he's like, but hey, tell you what, let me make you one. So he did. He literally made me one to order, and he was like, hey, for your troubles, like next time you're gonna come over, I'm gonna give you a free matcha. Because also, this man came up with the concept of matcha with cucumber syrup. And okay, before all of you think that it's disgusting, I swear I know how it sounds. It is really good. It gives it that like weird freshness that you wouldn't expect to have from like a milky drink, especially during the summer. And it kind of tastes like minty with like a dash of like sweet cucumber. And I don't only have pictures of it. I'm actually gonna show it to you. But so he's really sweet, and I've talked to him a lot. But let me grab the T-shirt. I'm sorry. I'll be back. I don't know why I didn't think about it before. But so yes, I don't know why I didn't think about it before. I'm back. But basically, this T-shirt is really, really dobro haranko. This T-shirt is like it was so soft and so nice, and so I mean, it's handmade in Brooklyn. He made it himself, and so he was like, "Yeah, for your troubles, next time you stop by, I'll give you like a free drink." And I was like, "Oh, that's very nice of you. I mean, no trouble at all. Just let me know when it's ready, and I'll pick it up." And then I was walking around that neighborhood today, and I was like, "Wait, I got a T-shirt a while ago. I'm gonna go check if it's ready," and it was ready. And so, I mean, it's a very simple T-shirt. Like there is not much. There's not much on it, right? It just says COA, NYC USA, which COA is coat of arms, which is his brand. And it's really cool because he has a lot of really fun streetwear that's very different. I mean, like I got the most basic item in that store. But if I could tell you how like nice and how like soft this thing is, I was just like really impressed because so he has a coffee shop and like his brand in like brand store in the same store. And like part of the store is the coffee shop and part of the store is where you buy clothes. And so I was like, this is so cool. I really want to like I really want to give this man a shout out because also his coffee shop, I would assume because it's part coffee shop and part like and part a store, like one thing would be great and one thing would not be that great, but but basically the coffee is really good. I personally really like matcha. My former roommate is Japanese, so I know a few things about matcha or matcha. And it's cotton. And basically I yeah, it's a cotton t-shirt. But basically, like he hired a Japanese matcha specialist to walk him through how to make the matcha, and so I can proudly say that that it's my favorite coffee shop right now, and I'm really into it. And so also because like, well, it's genuinely really good. Like I was really surprised. Like he knows what he's doing, and he really tried to make it like as like the best coffee shop in the neighborhood. And to me, it pretty much is because I really liked it. And so because of I've been going there for like a month now intermittently every time I pass by. And so today I was just like, I have to talk about this guy. I have to talk about his coffee shop because it's really cool. And now I have the t-shirt and I really like the t-shirt and I have to talk about it because I like it. And it's a small local brand, and that's the whole point where like I don't want to talk about, even if like there is going to be a big brand like ASOS at some point who's going to be like, "Oh my god, you have a following. Let us work together. We would like you to like advertise us." I would be like, "No." Because it's fast fashion, first of all. Second of all, it's detrimental to the environment. Third of all, like they really like those clothes are made in factories where people are not paid fair wages and stuff like that. Like I wouldn't want to do that. But if I see a cool place in my neighborhood or in a neighborhood next to my neighborhood, and if I like find a nice brand and they're small and local, and I like them for what they are. Hi Matt. And I like them for what they are. Have you said the name? Yes, it's Coat of Arms. So basically, like I just, I want to bring up the local businesses and Ukrainian businesses because well, that's what I believe in. So this is the brand. It's called Coat of Arms. And they have this t-shirt in black. I think they have it in this well, they have it in this color, they have it in black, and they have it in, I don't remember. There is another color. There is a third color, but I know I don't remember it because it's like it's one of the colors that I don't ever wear, so my memory automatically deletes it. But that doesn't mean it's not a good color. It just means that I don't react to it because like yeah, this is normally a color that I wouldn't react to either. But my dad, actually, this is a hoodie that I got from my shop for my dad. But I was really cold the other day and I was like, let me just throw it on. And I love this hoodie so much. Like, I liked it, okay? But now that I've worn it like 5 nights in a row, I love it. And part of me was like, do I even send this to my dad? But then I was like, okay, Yulia, you promised, and this was for your dad. So you are going to send it to your dad. But I'm going to get myself a size small because, to be fair, this is a medium and I'm like drowning in it as it's a unisex hoodie, so it's it's like as in a medium is is like pretty roomy, and also it's longer. So I need a small, but but I really like this hoodie. Honestly, I'm very happy that I went with the supplier with which I went, because I feel like their stuff is really high quality, which kind of like is all I wanted to, I just wanted these things to be high quality. And that's basically, that was my main point. Oh, and yes, I don't know if you guys saw the story the other day, but basically, total profits for this month out of all of the sales equaled to $138. So I rounded up to 140, and I sent Anastasia $35, which is her 25%. I donated $35 via my Monobank account to the Ukrainian Armed Forces, and if I could access it on my phone that I'm currently using to stream this, I would show it to you in my account, not just the screenshot, because I want everything to be fair and square. But so $70, which is 50% of profits, went to the army and Anastasia, and then the other $70 went back into the site, because currently I am sustaining the site and paying for the domain, paying for the Squarespace membership that lets you process orders, and Stripe membership that lets you process orders, and all of these like crazy expenses that small businesses have to endure that I never thought about, and I can't afford to sustain this site by myself right now. So once it evens out, or breaks even at least, then I am going to give Anastasia 50 and 50 to the army. So I just wanted to give you guys that breakdown so you know where the costs are going and where the stuff is going. So there's that. Yeah, so that's like the little chit chat that happens basically. Oh, and what I wanted to mention and what I wanted to stress is, like, I know that the hoodies and like the mugs and the stuff on the website, they're not like losing money helps your tax burden. I mean, maybe. This is the first time in my life that I have a small business, so we'll see. But what I wanted to say is that I know that the items on the website, they're not like cheap, right? They're pretty like pretty high up there priced. But so I wanted to make sure that you guys know that the profit margin from every one of these things is about $10, because if the hoodie is listed at 65, then that means that I bought it for 55. So it's not like I'm jacking up the prices ridiculously. It's just that I did not want to do a merch line that would be like crappy stuff with like my logo on it. I wanted to actually do a merch line that like is really nice things of really nice quality. So this hoodie was at 65, I believe. The website address is yulia.com. So basically, like, I'm not jacking up the prices like crazy. The profit margin on each one of these items is about $10, and some of them are $5, and some of them are basically some of these products I'm losing money on. So so it's more like I just wanted to do something really cool that would be like nice. Oh, for coat of arms, look, I'm gonna look it up for you in a second. Basically, all I wanted to say is that, like, none of these, I know that it probably seems like these prices are jacked up and I'm trying to like make bank on them or something like that, but I can literally, if any of you have any concerns over how much it costs for me to bring to, like, if any of you have concerns over, I don't know, like the authenticity of what I'm saying, you can feel free to DM me and I will show you what each one of these items costs to buy for me from the supplier. And the reason why I chose garments that were in a higher price category is because I wanted to do, yeah, like, it's the thing is, like, if I'm not going to wear it myself, I don't want to sell it. And if I were to do like crappy hoodies and like crappy t-shirts and crappy things like that I wouldn't wear myself, I wouldn't feel right selling them to you guys, you know? So my whole point was that I wanted to do something, that would be like nice quality and would be worth buying it. Because if you buy it because, I don't know, you want to support Ukraine, or you want to support me, or you want to support Anastasia, you know, like, I still want you to enjoy wearing it. So that was the whole point of it. And that's basically how this, you know, how the site functions. And that's what it is. And yeah, and so like I don't know, like I got sweatpants for John. He really likes them. I got yes, I am currently actually looking into candles. I just, again, if I'm gonna do candles, I don't want to do like basic candles. I don't want them to smell, because there are some like candles that smell like air freshener, and I don't want that. I want like good candles with good scents. And honestly, at this point, I'm like highly considering just buying materials and making the candles myself, because a friend of mine did that, and it's not easy, but it's also kind of like gives you more control over that, and you can kind of get yeah, so actually, so to what you're saying, Shan, is that this is 100% cotton. And so are the t-shirts, and most of them are recycled materials as well. So that's what I was like looking for. I was looking for good materials, and I was looking for recyclable materials, and I was looking for production that so basically like the way this production works is they don't have a huge warehouse with a bunch of these hoodies and then they just embroider them. They make them to order. Like each hoodie is made to order. So basically it's sustainable, and that probably contributes as well to why it's more expensive to buy specifically from them. But for me, it was kind of worth the trade-off, because I don't want to buy from a giant warehouse that just has like a ton of these things, and like keeps them and stuff like that. So for me, it's just like, I don't know, I just want to. Oh, hi, James. I think for me, quality is over quantity, and purpose is over everything as well. And I just, yeah, that's just what it is for me. And that's how I go about things. And I don't ever want to recommend something to someone that I wouldn't recommend to myself. So, yes. Yeah. Hi, James. Good to see you. And yeah, and one day I'm going to send this hoodie to my dad. And for Coat of Arms, let me tell you their website. Coat of Arms Brooklyn. So the website is coatofarms.nyc. Oh yeah, Woolcraft's blanket. Oh my god. Cindy was sleeping in her on her little Woolcraft's. Oh my gosh, one sec. Okay, so Cindy was sleeping on my Woolcraft's blanket today, and she was sleeping so like she looked so happy. I took a picture of her, and I'm gonna post it on my Instagram saying, if you didn't get your Woolcraft's blanket yet, what are you sleeping on? Literally. Because it was just such a like perfect advertisement shot. Like I couldn't make it up. She was just like passed out. The blanket was like around her, and she was like cocooned in it, just like kind of sleep. It was so sweet. So I was just like, oh my god, Cindy, you make it too easy. Oh my gosh, Cindy is so having a food coma from her treats. Hers the whole time she was visiting me. Oh, it's so awesome. Yeah, like Woolcrafts, honestly, I cross my heart, like best blanket I've had. It's just so like cozy. and so nice. But so for the person who was asking about the Coat of Arms website, it's coatofarms.nyc. And as I said, like because I really like this business and I've discovered it and it's my local business, I'm going to make a video about it later. I am also going to make a video about something very interesting. So surely all of you guys know who Ruth Bader Ginsburg is, right? Right? Oh no, I'm so sorry, Julie. Okay. Ruth Bader Ginsburg was a Supreme Court justice, a revolutionary Supreme Court justice who basically gave us women all of the rights we have in America today. And you know what she did, and you know who she is. Do you know, though, that she was Ukrainian? Yes, both her parents are from Ukraine, and her dad immigrated from Odessa at age 13. So, yeah, Ruth Bader Ginsburg was Ukrainian. Yes, Ruth Bader Ginsburg is Ukrainian. I know, crazy, right? And it's not like she's the first generation American out of her both immigrant parents. I mean, no, her name is Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Her parents immigrated to the United States, and her father's last name is Bader, and her mother's last name is Ginsburg. And her dad is from Odessa, which is a very Odessa is has a very very large Jewish community, and his last name is Bader. And her mom's last name is I think Ginsburg, or maybe that's her husband's name. But I'm sorry, I like I didn't look into it, but I just know that both of her parents are Ukrainian immigrants. Yeah, and she's first generation American, so she is American Ukrainian, or Ukrainian American rather. Oh yeah, Mila Jovovich and Mila Kunis are Ukrainian. Also, Taisa Farmiga is Ukrainian. You know, Vera Farmiga is Ukrainian. Technically, it's Vera Farmiga and Taisia Farmiga. It's just that they kind of, Taisa, I think, was already born in the United States. And so her name technically is Taisia. But in English, it's easier to say Taisa. So, and their last names are Farmiga. Farmiga is a Ukrainian last name. And all of them went to Plast, which is like a Ukrainian boy and girl scout organization. And if you watch, so Vera Farmiga is from Bates Motel. So Vera Farmiga is the mom from Bates Motel, and Taisa Farmiga is from American Horror Story. She was in a lot of them, but I think her most notable one. So she was in the first one. The first one, she was American Horror Story. The house, I forgot what it's called, but basically, she is the girl who, yeah, she's in several seasons, but she's most popular in Coven, right? And she's also most popular in Murder House because she's the daughter. So she's Ukrainian. Yeah, this live will be posted. Yeah. So Bates Motel, and then Mila Jovovich is Ukrainian. Mila Kunis is Ukrainian. A lot of Ukrainian actresses used to. Oh, James Bond. You know who else is Ukrainian? One sec. James Bond. Olha Kurilenko, the Bond girl. Olha Kurilenko is Ukrainian. Oh, that's cool. Wie geht's? Ich spreche Deutsch ein bisschen, aber meine Grammatik ist sehr schlecht. Ich habe Deutsch studiert aus Schule für 11 Jahre. Human, the whole world is Ukrainian. I mean, not really, but there are a lot of like famous Ukrainian figures that never really like expressed. And there's like 30. I only know Ava Green. Oh, you know Olha Kurilenko. Oh my God, I'll show you. Hi, Yum. You know her. I will show you in a second, and you will be like, oh my gosh, of course I know her. This girl, this girl. Was what from the merch, Lucy? Yeah, so she's Ukrainian as well. Yeah, it's like there are a lot of Ukrainian actresses that never bothered saying that they're Ukrainian because nobody ever knew where Ukraine was, which to me is like, I kind of understand it, but I also kind of condemn it because basically like there are too many, like if you are in that position of power, right? If you're a famous actress and somebody asks you where you're from, you better say that you're Ukrainian. And if nobody knows where Ukraine is, then you just tell them where Ukraine is and you explain it because you have so many people watching you, right? So that's one of the things that that I was thinking about. Also, wait, so are there Germans here? Because somebody just said that my German was really good. Well, danke sehr. But I wanted to see if you're German, because if you are, there is a girl whose great grandparents are German who added me on Instagram from my lives and reached out to me. And she wanted to, she doesn't know anything about German culture because, well, she's like a nth generation in America, but she is considering potentially moving. Oh, thank you so much. Hi, Angela. But she is basically from thank you. But she wants to potentially move to Germany, and she was saying that she would love to have German friends because she wants to learn more about the culture, and she wants to learn the language and stuff. So if there are Germans here, I'm German and live in the US right now. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Okay, cool. So she lives in the US as well, and I wanted to see if she is. Well, let me add you. I'll add you because I want to reach out to you potentially if you would be willing to, I don't know, just make friends and talk a little bit about Germany and culture and maybe tell her what it would be like if she moved to Germany. Oh, how is homework going? How are your studies? Thank you for stopping by. Oh, Sini. Sinia, what are you doing there? Dobry вечер. My dad's family is German and Swedish. Oh, that's cool. And also, someone said over there that their grandfather is, or their great grandfather. Oh, my grandfather was Ukrainian, and I never say this because it's a shame for me. Well, it's a shame that it's a shame for you. I don't know why you would be ashamed of the fact that your grandfather is Ukrainian because, well, we are some very great people, and I don't know why it'd be shameful for you. If you look at Ukraine, especially today, and if you look at all of our people and how they're fighting for their independence and their freedom, it's shameful that you're ashamed of it. Why do Ukrainian last names end with Vich or Enko? Well, Ukrainian last names regularly don't end with Vich. They end with Enko. They also end with Uk and Yuk. Well, why are German last names the way that they are? Why are American last names the way that they are? It's usually like it's usually basically our last names kind of signify what the professions of our original ancestors were. So like Kovalenko, like Koval is a person who makes horseshoes, and or a person who makes like metal things. So it would be Koval, and then Enko is some like as in like derivative from Koval. I want to have some Ukrainian. Okay, wait. There is a guy or a girl from Kyiv that wanted to ask some questions. So let's see. But hello.
Привет. И вам здравствуйте. Вы сможете общаться на русском, на украинском, каком угодно?
Могу на любом.
Вау, круто. Слушайте, у меня вот вопрос такой есть. Я же так понимаю, вы сейчас в Америке, правильно?
Да.
Вы знаете, такая есть площадка Kickstarter?
Да.
Вопрос, вот как вообще вот в Украине вот зарегистрировать свой проект там, когда они требуют какой-то IPT-протокол по доходам и прочим? Я же так понимаю, что по факту Штаты не могут дать нам разрешение на данном этапе по запуску проектов.
Ну, я на самом деле не знаю, потому что я Кикстартером сама никогда не пользовалась. Как бы я могу учесть вопросы, если вы меня добавите на Инстаграме и мне напишите об этом, то я спрошу своих знакомых, которые которые как бы им вообще имеют понятие о том, как это работает, потому что я, как бы, к сожалению, ответа не имею на этот вопрос, потому что я как бы я никогда не пользовалась Кикстартером, никогда не смотрела, какие у них requirements.
Я понял. Слушайте, ну это будет круто, я буду вам очень признателен.
Да,
Этот
конечно.
аккаунт, это официальный аккаунт моего проекта радио, я веду, я музыкант, вот. У нас
Круто.
было все хорошо до поры до времени, пока 24-го не начался, ну вы сами знаете, что и где. Вот, и, собственно, я стараюсь тоже поддерживать все моменты. Вот 12 числа для ВСУ играл, который в Харькове, но, к сожалению, там что-то пошло, и в итоге эфир прервался. То есть стараюсь как бы людей мотивировать музыкой, чтобы они вот понимали, что вообще в Киеве и по Украине можно такое, в принципе, делать. Вот, если вы узнаете, я буду вам очень признателен. Because it is great and to be waiting for victory for Ukraine. И это будет шикарно просто.
Well, I really hope that victory comes soon, потому что у меня, в принципе, вся семья во Львове, и я как бы не могу туда выбраться, потому что не могу пока. И как только, так сразу.
Мы ждем победу. Наши ребята там делают все возможное, чтобы все приближать ближе к победе. И однозначно мы победим и сделаем просто шедевральный момент. И это будет круто.
Ну, наши ребята молодцы. Окей, вы мне напишите, у меня Инстаграм такой же, как ТикТок, и я отвечаю, в принципе, часто, я спрошу, как бы, как это все работает, попробую вам помочь, но пока у меня, к сожалению, ответов на этот вопрос нету.
Да, и обязательно еще, я вам когда это все пишу, там одна из главных задач, мне интересно по суммарной сумме, сколько можно, потому что мне, в принципе, сумма-то небольшая нужна, но хотелось бы вот вообще понять все, как это работает. Если вы узнаете, я буду вам очень признателен, но опять же таки, для вас, естественно, отыграю сет любого стиля музыки абсолютно в обработках, то есть у меня студия я очень долго к ней, шел.
Да не проблема, я рада, счастлива помочь в любом случае.
Скажу так, что я один из участников тех ребят, которые придумали фишку «Доброго вечера, мы из Украины», чтобы вы знали.
Это круто, очень круто.
Да, и просто сейчас, так как ребята мои в разъездах, а я, к сожалению, не могу с Киева вырваться, вот я все пока сейчас делаю дома, потом опять вместе с ними буду опять ездить и, как говорится, делать победу в Украине, которая есть. Ну, естественно, за Бугор поехать и показать ребятам, что мы, в принципе, тоже можем по большому-то счету. Ох, накидали, благодарю всех. Everyone, thank you very much. It's great. Хорошо, я вас благодарю, тогда я подпишусь и вам опишу, что мне нужно будет, и буду ждать от вас ответа.
Хорошо, окей.
Благодарю вас.
До связи, до свидания.
Всего доброго.
All right. This was a guy from Kyiv, and he just had a couple of questions about Kickstarter for his platform, but I unfortunately can't answer them on the spot because I know next to zero about Kickstarter and how it works. So I'm going to research that and ask some people that I know who know how it works, and then I'm going to try and answer these questions for him. But I just wanted to give you a brief synopsis of what that was or what I was talking about for so long. But basically, yeah, he just had some questions that I didn't have answers for, so I'm going to try and answer them when I can. Hi there. Good to see you. All right. So without any further ado, let's dive into our 87 updates that we have about Ukraine today. The invaders drove Ukrainian defenders out of the center of Severodonetsk, but have not fully captured the city, the American Institute for the Study of War. Also, according to the Institute, the Russian army conducted an unsuccessful offensive southeast of Izum and north of Slavyansk. The enemy is probably creating conditions for a direct attack on Seversk and settlements northwest of Lysychansk. Of Lysychansk. In addition, the researchers noted that Russian forces are conducting an offensive to the northeast of Kharkiv in an attempt to dislodge Ukrainian forces. Thank you so much. Thank you so very much. As of the south, the Ukrainian forces continue to gradually attack Russian positions on the east bank of the Ingulets River in the northwest of the Kherson region. There are battles for Davidov Brod. Also, speaking of Ukrainian cities, have you guys seen, I posted a video today, and one of the things that I've realized recently is, well, first of all, there is a live coming up about Donbass that we're doing on Saturday with my history teacher that you met last week, Natalia, who is an amazing historian and who I hope was very interesting and gave you a lot of very good information. But so in the lieu, in the lieu of this live coming out, I noticed that there is a giant wave of confusion about what Donbass is, what Donetsk is, how Donetsk and Donbass are related, what is the territory of Donbass, DPR and LPR and stuff like that. And so I posted a video explaining all of it because I think that a lot of the times Donbass and Donetsk are being used interchangeably. And a lot of the times when people refer to DPR or LPR or DNR or LNR, they say Donbass. But Donbass is a gigantic region of Ukraine. Donbass means Donetsky Basin, which means Donetsk pool, and that refers to a coal mining pool. And no, so Donetsk is a city. Donetsk state or Donetsk Oblast is a state around the city of Donetsk. Now Luhansk is a city, and Luhansk Oblast or state is a state around Luhansk. Now Donetsk and Luhansk are both in Donetsky Basin, but so is Mariupol, and so are a lot of other cities, because Donbass is a large chunk of eastern Ukraine. It's a gigantic region, and Donetsk and Donbass are not interchangeable. Donetsk is in Donbass, and Luhansk is in Donbass. Yes, Ukraine is divided into different. Donetsk is divided into different. Ukraine is divided into different provinces, and those provinces have cities and villages. Yes, just like in the United States, we have states and then we have state centers. We also have states in Ukraine, except in Ukrainian, they're called oblast. So I am from Lviv, which is the state center of Lviv Oblast, because our oblasts are basically called after the biggest city in the region, right? So Lviv Oblast. Then Ivano-Frankivsk Oblast, Ternopil Oblast. Then her eyes, I'll get it off as she moves her head. I'm very confused. But so basically we have oblasts, same as United States have states. And Donetsk Oblast and Luhansk Oblast are part of Donbass region. So Donbass is kind of like, New Hampshire, Maine, Massachusetts, they're a part of New England, right? So Donbass is what New England is it's a region comprised of a couple of states. Yes, where local government is, yes. And yes, state capital. Yes, exactly. So yeah. Thank you so much, Kay. So yeah, and right now, so DPR and LPR are basically, and there's different cities or villages in, like, say, Lviv with different names. Yes, so in Lviv Oblast, there are a lot of cities. There is Drohobych, there is Zhovkva, there is there's so many, right? And Lviv is, so it's like in Ukrainian you would say Lviv misto, city. Lvivska Oblast is Lviv Oblast or Lviv state. So it'd be like Lviver state, Kyiver state, like, stuff like that. So in Ukraine, it's easier to kind of distinguish because we have conjugations for these things. So it's not like Lviv city, Lviv state, right? And you would never say you would never call the state Lviv. You would call it Lvivska Oblast. You never just refer to it as like, oh, the state of New York, right? Or like you would never say just New York. You would just say the state of Lviv, or like Lvivska Oblast. And so in Lvivska Oblast, there are a lot of cities and a lot of villages, and then there are micro neighborhoods and micro regions and stuff like that. And it's basically the same way as in every other state in New York, in the US. And I feel like there is a lot of confusion around that, and I don't think that we as creators have ever really addressed it that much, because I feel like sometimes as Ukrainian people to whom this is super normal, we just don't think that we need to address these things and we need to explain them, because we're like, oh yeah, of course everybody understands that. But of course you don't, because you don't live in Ukraine and these things are obviously confusing. It's like the same as like, I as a random person would go to South Africa and just be like, okay, well, so how are things here? Like, how is your country organized? Like, what are the divisions of different places, without like knowing anything about it. So I figured it's really good to address these things. And also, if you guys would want to, I will make a video on it explaining it further, because we don't only have like, we don't only have geographical regions that are outlined on a map. We also have ethnical regions, like we have Gutsulshina, we have Volyn, we have so many different regions. We have Zakarpattia, and there's just a lot going on there. And I feel like it could be very easily explained in like a map with another map with another map. Thank you, Tammy. And if you're interested, I will walk you through all of the different regions, all of the different states, and all of the different, like, well, micro regions probably not, because there are way too many, but there are a lot of different things going on, and it's very similar to what's going on in the US. Like, you know, if you say the South, so if you were to say the South or the Midwest, or like, or something like that, it would be like saying Donbass, you know, or like, because it's also an area comprised of lots of states. With a map and a map and a map. Yeah, because, well, there is a lot going on, you know. And I have never seen a map that basically divides Ukraine onto states and then ethnical regions and stuff like that. So yeah, map. Does what you have described reflect in the parliament? What do you mean by that? You got to be a little more specific. In what way would it reflect in the parliament? What are you asking about, is what I'm saying. We can see you, Gremlin. Yes. Well, not anymore. But yeah, so I was just, you asked, does what you have described reflect in the parliament? I'm not sure what that means, to be fair. Yeah, it's just because Donbass sounds very similar to Donetsk, right? And technically it is Donetsky Basin, but Donetsk is like a river. I wish I had a topographical map of Ukraine, but with the war, it's harder to find now. Yeah, it is. It's very confusing listening in the news reports and how they talk about regions. It's confusing. Yeah, exactly. So when you guys here in the UK, we have a lighthearted difference between North and Southerners. Is it similar in UA? Well, we do have a lot of like regional traditions that vary, and a lot of regional, I mean, like, as in like old time traditions, right? So there is a lot of stuff that people do like in the West that people don't in the East traditionally. And there is a lot of Cossack culture in the East because Cossacks lived in the East. And there is Zaporizhia Sich there, which is where the Cossack headquarters, and they originated in Zaporizhia. And we do have dialects. Yes. Oh my gosh. If you went to the Carpathian Mountains, there are so many different dialects there. Lviv, for instance, where I'm from, has so many words that I feel like, well, rather like Western Ukraine, because, well, no, I think it's like Lviv and regions that are bordering Lviv, to be fair, and we have a lot of words that nobody else in Ukraine uses. And we always joke, and we always use those as like a haha, are you from Lviv? Like, there is this word filizhanka, and filizhanka, like filizhanka kavy, and that means like a glass of coffee. But filizhanka is just a Lviv word or Western Ukrainian word. Nobody in the East uses that. I'm pretty sure if I said filizhanka to somebody from Eastern Ukraine, they would be like, the what who? The who what? So, well, actually, if somebody is from Eastern Ukraine, do you use filizhanka as a word? I feel like Central Ukraine, do you use filizhanka? Southern Ukraine, do you use filizhanka? I don't think anybody does. I think it's just like a Lviv thing. And we have a lot of weird colloquialisms that are strictly Lviv, and then there are strictly Western Ukraine. I don't know a lot. I don't know, Carlos. I actually don't know a lot of words from Eastern Ukraine or Central Ukraine that are pertinent only to that region because, well, I did not grow up there. But that makes me want to reach out to my friends. That makes me want to reach out to my friends and actually ask them what their words are that they know are just regional, and then maybe we can all do a video on Ukrainian dialects. That would be really cool. Okay, European Commission will insist on granting Ukraine EU candidate status. A lot about EU officials said that they're acutely aware of the sacrifices made by Ukrainians and clearly understand the need to send a clear message to Putin that he has lost any chance of returning Ukraine to his presumed sphere of influence. The Commission does not forget that Ukraine is the only country in Europe where people died because they were in the streets with the EU flags. Now we can't say to them, sorry guys, you were waving the wrong flag, said an unnamed Commission member. Oh, thank you. The sweatshirt is from my store. It's on Yulia.com, and I know this is going to sound like such a bad plug, but it's a store that I created, and it's my merch. It's spy gear, and 50% of profits go 25 to Ukrainian army and 25 to Anastasia, who's my aunt, who's also the illustrator behind it. She's Ukrainian. She lost most of her income due to the war, and she is moving to London on their program for Ukrainians. No worries. On their program for Ukrainians in July, and hopefully she's going to be able to do much better there. But for now, it's just basically my way of helping her earn some money. And every month, I will be posting a profits versus donations snapshot on my Instagram. So if you're interested in the sweatshirt, it's very comfy. It's from my store, and the store is Yulia.com. Sorry. Okay, so thank you. Invaders from Severodonetsk trying to consolidate in the central part of the city. The main from the summary as of 6 a.m. On the Kharkiv direction, the enemy fired fire in the areas of Rubizhne, Ruska Lozova, Bayrak, and the Mantivka settlements. On the Slovyansk direction, the invaders are trying to establish full control over the Bohorodichne settlement and create conditions for an offensive of Slovyansk. In the Liman direction, the invaders are regrouping their forces in order to attack in the directions Liman, Rayhorodok, and Yampol-Seversk. In the Severodonetsk direction, the enemy strengthened the grouping by moving up to 2 battalion tactical groups of the Kremenna-Rubizhne area with the support of artillery. It conducts storming operations in the city of Severodonetsk, trying to gain a foothold in the central part of the city. On the Bakhmut direction, the aggressor is firing artillery at the positions of our troops in the areas of Vidrodzhenya, Novoluhansk, and Bakhmut. Has partial success, entrenches in the settlement of Vidrodzhenya, continues to conduct assault actions in the direction of Vidrodzhenya-Varshina. On the Kryvyi Rih direction, the enemy conducted mining on the banks of the Inhulets River at the line Davydov Brod-Kalinovsk. An air battle took place near Snigirivka, reports Operational Command South. An Su-35 fighter fired an air-to-air missile at a pair of Mi-8s. Oh, thank you, Bea. The helicopters managed to dodge it. The enemy retreated. Also, according to the command, the ship grouping of the enemy fleet in the northwestern part of the Black Sea now consists of 4 cruise missile carriers and 3 dock landing crafts. The Russian offensive near Metelkino failed, but they continue to target Azot and Stekloplastic. According to this data, during the day, the invaders destroyed the bridge, the premises of the Regional State Emergency Service, as well as shelled the nearby villages Sinetsky and Pavlograd of Luhansk region. Due to the heavy shelling, it is practically impossible to get to the victims and the dead. Thank you so much, Bea. The enemy struck the Odessa region this morning with a missile attack. 2 Onyx missiles fired from a coastal missile system from the territory of temporarily occupied Crimea were destroyed over the sea and by an air defense unit. It's a Ukrainian village where I grew up. Oh my god, that's so cool. State Road in Parma, Ohio. That's cool. Also, I wanted to, sorry, this is going to be difficult because I'm not that flexible, but basically, these are my Ukrainian socks, and they and they say Chornobayevka on them, and this is Dodo, that company that I really love, because Dodo are my favorite socks, and most of my socks are from Dodo. And today it's pretty AC central in my house, and you know that I freeze with AC, so I'm wearing socks, like wintry socks. And Chornobayevka is that airport, Ukrainian socks. Yeah, they are Ukrainian socks. And Chornobayevka is that airport in Ukraine where Russian forces keep bringing their artillery and all of their equipment. And they can't reach it because Ukrainians keep destroying them. And so I think it's like 18-0 at this point. No, they're not on my store, but they're on Dodo. So Dodo socks are on Etsy now, and you can buy them through their Etsy store. And they have a lot of Ukraine-themed socks. And no, I'm not pregnant. Why would you think I'm pregnant? Jesus, you think you want to offend me by saying I'm pregnant? Like, God, men really cannot come up with any insults that are like reasonable, right? Like, I'm not in 5th grade. Are you trying to like what is it? It's not like anything about me says I'm pregnant, right? Because it's not like I literally like where, right? The thing is that these people are saying it because they think that I'm gonna get offended because I'm gonna be like, oh my God, do I look fat? It's like, dude, you're stupid. Like, it doesn't make or break my day, right? It just makes you look like an asshole. That's about it. It's okay. You know, men like that like to insult people with insults that somebody would use in the 5th grade. It's okay. So yeah, so it's fine. I mean, hey, it's, you know, lame comments like that give me engagement, which means that more people come over here and more people listen about Ukraine. So please give me all of the lame comments, because all you're doing is you're bringing attention to my channel, right? You're giving me engagement and you're commenting. So thank you. I would love to come see Ukrainian Village. I've only been to the Ukrainian Village in New York, and I've only been to the Ukrainian Village in Chicago. Where are you from? Oh, and also Philadelphia. Where are you from? I'm from Ukraine. More people get to know about your fake news bullcrap. Well, dude, like, again, you're giving me engagement by commenting, right? And if you don't want to watch my fake news, why are you here? Like, are you like masochistic? Do you just like sitting here and being like, I think it's fake news and I believe Russian television, but I'm going to sit here and I'm going to torture myself listening to this garbage because, you know, it is what I like to do to myself. Like, you think it's fake news? You think it's awful? Like, leave. Also, I don't understand this particular person because they weren't even like trying to spread their propaganda here, right? They were just silently sitting there and listening. It's like, why? Oh no, but that's the whole point. I know they're paid mostly, but this one was literally sitting there and not even doing anything. He wasn't even commenting. He commented the Ukrainian socks and then clown faces. So I was like, weird. But you know, but then he never said anything. Am I married? Yes, happily. The US and allies are ready to provide Ukraine with all the weapons it needs to defeat Russia, Pentagon Chief Lloyd Austin said during a visit to Thailand. The US is ready to provide everything and help Ukraine succeed. We also have partners from around the world who are ready to really help Ukraine, Austin said. Also, I forgot, yes, I just answered you. I am married. No, I'm not in Ukraine. My parents are in Ukraine. My family is in Ukraine. I'm in the United States. I've been here for 11 years. Also, to someone who was asking about the socks, actually on my website, on yulia.com, I have a section called Shop UA, which is Shop Ukrainian, and I linked some of my favorite stores there. So you can go on my website and you can check out Shop UA section. Thank you. You can check out Shop UA section and you will find a lot of Ukrainian brands there, from very affordable ones to some that are like absolutely unaffordable. But I mean, like, I link to them because they are like the beacon of Ukrainian fashion world. Oh, that's so awesome. Thank you for welcoming a Ukrainian family. Thank you. Obrigado. So yeah, so basically you can So basically, you can. Mila Alien has better info and better looking by far. Well, I mean, okay, cool. Go watch Mila then. What are you doing here? I do agree Mila is a very good looking girl, and I do agree Mila has really good info, but like I don't know at all what that has to do with anything. You like Mila's info better? You should go watch Mila. You think Mila is better looking? That literally is the dumbest comment I've ever heard, because it doesn't matter what I look like. It doesn't matter what Mila looks like. We're not here to look beautiful. We're here to read the news. God, what a misogynistic prick. Jesus. It's fine. Can you please block him? Because at this point, like, first of all, well, you do prefer Mila, so please go there. And I'm sure she's going to block you as well because you're disgusting. And I want to block you because, well, you are disgusting and you don't have to watch me. It's cool. Okay, so he said that the US had already provided a significant amount of 155 millimeter artillery weapons. And we will continue to work to help them succeed. And we're focused on making sure that we're helping Ukraine and giving it what it needs to defend its sovereign territory, the Pentagon chief said. Zelensky urged Scholz to abandon the balancing act between Ukraine and Russia. I agree. In an interview with Germany's ZDF, Zelensky criticized Scholz's attempt to maintain a balance in relations between Kyiv and Moscow. The chancellor and his government must choose who their priority is, the Ukrainian president stressed. Zelensky also recalled that even before Scholz's rule, Germany was skeptical about Ukraine's accession to the EU and NATO. The enemy shelled at the Suma region from SAU and mortars at night. Around 12 o'clock at night, the invaders fired mortars at the Znob Novgorod community. There were 11 explosions. Preliminarily, one civilian infrastructure object was damaged. Also at 5:30 a.m., the enemy began shelling the community with 21 missile attacks from multiple rocket launchers and SAUs. After 5:30, artillery shelled the territory of Krasnopolsk community. A 35-year-old woman was killed and her 3-month-old baby was wounded as a result of shelling in the settlement of Pecheneha, Kharkiv region. Also in the village of Malinivka, an 11-year-old boy and a 17-year-old girl were injured. 2 people were injured in the village of Zhukovsky and in the village of Zavhorodna. In Kharkiv district, the Russian missiles caused a fire in the warehouse. Trucks burned. Today, Sberbank, Rosselskhozbank, and Moscow Credit Bank are disconnected from the SWIFT system as part of the 6th package of sanctions. This was announced by the head of the Office of the President of Ukraine, Andriy Yermak. In the 7th package of EU sanctions, it is important that these restrictions affect all Russian banks, including Gazprom Bank. Also, Bloomberg has learned that the world's largest banks, JP Morgan Chase and Goldman Sachs, have suspended transactions to service Russia's debt obligations. Ukrainian journalists came under fire from invaders in the center of Lysychansk, Luhansk region. Journalists of Suspilne were evacuated by our military. There were no wounded. Here is a video. The US will send $1.5 billion monthly to Ukraine, said Deputy Foreign Minister Derek Hogan. We have already allocated $1 billion for this purpose through various mechanisms and intend to send another $1.5 billion each month for 4 to 5 months, the diplomat said. The funds are said to be used to support the work of the Ukrainian government. A woman died as a result of shelling in Zelenodolsk community of Dnipropetrovsk region, head of the RMA, Reznichenko. Her body was found this morning near the Dacha house. This is already the third death from enemy hurricanes in the last week. The enemy is shelling communities in Kryvyi Rih and Sinelnikova districts every day. British intelligence update as of June 14th, 2022. Russia's operational main effort remains the assault against the Severodonetsk pocket in the Donbass. Its western group of forces have likely made small advances in the Kharkiv sector for the first time in several weeks. On 10th of June, the first deputy chairman of Russia's Military Industrial Commission predicted that state defense spending will increase by 600 to 700 billion rubles, which could approach a 20% increase in Russia's defense budget. Russian government funding is allowing the country's defense industrial base to be slowly mobilized to meet demands placed on it by the war in Ukraine. However, the industry could struggle to meet many of these requirements, partially due to the effects of sanctions and lack of expertise. Russia's production of high-quality optics and advanced electronics likely remain troubled and could undermine its efforts to replace equipment lost in Ukraine. Something about Starlink. I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you're talking. I mean, like, I know what Starlink is, but what about it? Is my question. Ukraine returned 64 bodies of dead Azovstal defenders. The exchange of bodies of fallen servicemen took place in Zaporizhia region, the Ministry of Reintegration said. Volodymyr Zelensky published a selection of photos. We will definitely rebuild Ukraine, streets and neighborhoods, peaceful towns and villages. We will heal bodies from wounds and souls from losses. All this is not a synopsis of a science fiction film. All this is our reality and our future. Here is the collection of photographs. China prepares for special operation against Taiwan. According to RFA, Chinese President Xi Jinping has signed the corresponding order. China's state media have not published the text, only noting that it is a non-war military operation in order to ensure the national sovereignty of China. The decree which Xi Jinping signed comes into force on June 15th. So, a non-war military operation in order to ensure the national sovereignty of China. That sounds literally like Putin with his special military operation. What are these dictators doing? They're like, oh yeah, as long as we say that it's not a war, the whole world is going to believe that it's not a war, right? No, it is still a freaking war. It doesn't matter what you say it is. Like, what the heck? Genuinely. Just because you call it not a war doesn't mean that we're stupid enough to be like, oh yeah, this is a non-war special military operation. It is definitely not a war, right? What the heck? No, I think it's just like, yeah, Yeah, I don't. I think that they're just trying to see if that will fly, although it should not, because what special military operation? The same one as Russia conducted? The Ukrainian armed forces have outplayed the invaders in the Kherson direction and are approaching Tomina Balka, said advisor to the head of the Kherson Regional Administration, Sergei Khlan, during a telethon. Over the past few days, our defenders have driven the enemy back several kilometers, gradually conducting counteroffensive operations towards Kherson. Serhiy Khlan claims that the fighting is already going on between Tavriske and Tomina Balka village, where the positions of the invaders are located. The air raid alarm sounded practically all over the country today, except for Kherson Oblast and Luhansk Oblast and Crimea. Podolyak responded to Georgian Prime Minister Garibashvili, who said that Georgia should be first on the list of candidates for EU membership, and then Ukraine. No one is signing up to be martyred by Russian missiles. Ukraine is paying a terrible price for choosing to be a European democracy. The EU pays a great price to protect Western civilization. For values are more important than profit. And what is more important to you? The number of candidates in line? Wrote the advisor to the head of the presidential office. See, one of the things that I really appreciate about Ukrainian politicians these days is that they don't screw around. They don't have the political correctness that the rest of the politicians have. And I don't mean it in a mean way. Like, they're not crossing boundaries. They're not saying anything that's offensive, but they're not tiptoeing around everybody else. They say it like it is. You know, every time somebody says something that makes literally zero sense and is unreasonable, they respond. Ukrainian politicians really respond without that like political filter. They're not like, oh, well, you know, of course your concerns make sense, but they literally say like it is, like, hey guy, there is a war in our country and people are dying, so you are not going to get invaded by Russia. Do you really care about how many people are standing in line in front of you for the EU membership, or do you really care for what the EU protects? Because if you don't, that means that maybe you're not ready for that EU membership because you feel like you are just entitled. Thank you for blocking that dude. It became known why some of the Tor air defense systems of the Russian army could not reach the front line. As the main intelligence directorate of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine reports, the invaders wanted to scrap the components of their air defense systems so as to not fight in Ukraine. According to the agency, the commanders of one of the batteries and the 933rd Anti-Aircraft Missile Regiment of the Russian occupation forces removed control units from their Tor M2U combat vehicles and wanted to hand them over to a collection point for previous medals at too high a price, because of which they had a conflict with a station worker. The latter reported them to the so-called Ministry of State Security of the DPR. Now the command of the regiment explains the loss of electronic units as alleged military operations, and the invaders, businessmen, continued to serve in the infantry units on the front lines. 7 German howitzer Panzerhaubitze 2000 will soon be delivered to Ukraine. Yay! Oh my gosh. Deputy of the State Duma of the Russian Federation proposed to withdraw the recognition of the independence of 3 more countries: Ukraine, Estonia, and Latvia. We just started with Lithuania, and it is clear why. Lithuania is more dangerous for the Russian Federations in terms of the situation related to the Kaliningrad region and in the confrontation with NATO and the United States. And after the mechanism is worked out, we will work it out in other NATO territories, and not only NATO. Here, Ukraine, for example, also illegally left the USSR, said Yevgeny Fedorov, State Duma deputy. These people are literally losing their fucking marbles. Okay, well, here is an answer to you. Yuri Dolgorukov is the one who, according to you, which is not true, found in Moscow, right? So why then he was the exiled son of a Kievan Rus ruler? So to me, Ukraine has all the right to cancel the founding of Moscow, which means that you were not even a part of the USSR and you held no command in the USSR because your capital city doesn't fucking exist. Pardon my French, but these people are literally like, I don't understand. Are they all having a brain aneurysm simultaneously for like months on end now? Is it just like an aneurysm that doesn't stop? Because it sounds like it, genuinely. What do you mean? So for 30 years, it was totally fine. And all of these states have left USSR fine. And you had no issues with that. But the second that you are losing grip and control over these states, you're like, oh, no, they actually left illegally. And the only reason we're saying that is because, well, we can't control them. They're not listening to us anymore, and they're democratic, and we don't have a grip on them anymore. So we have to bring them back to the USSR. First of all, USSR doesn't exist. What do you mean Ukraine left USSR illegally? USSR fell apart. It's an entity that doesn't exist. These crazy people are going to try to say that the USSR fell apart illegally and that we're still all parts of the USSR and we're supposed to somehow still freaking stand on our knees to Russia. Like, genuinely, that's what it sounds like. And I swear to God, the fact that the world is like, oh, yeah, we should just not humiliate Putin. Are you crazy? Do you see what these like brain dead, freaking aneurysm experiencing people are saying? Are you not scared? Because I'm not scared of like acting now. I feel like I'd be scared of not acting at all, because it sounds like you are giving these people a reason to think that they have an opportunity to actually make this happen. You're just feeding their ego, because the whole world is literally not doing anything while these crazy like the dictator and his goonies are sitting there and being like, yeah, this was illegal, these countries belong to us. And the world is like, well, this is crazy, but they're not doing anything. And they're like, oh, but we don't want to do anything because what if he starts a war? It's like, do you not see that? He doesn't, it's not that you are going to piss him off and he's going to do something. It's that he's been planning on doing something. And if you don't do something now, chances are that you are gonna like regret it later. And also another thing, dear Scholz, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, here's what I have to say to you. And I'm sorry for all the German people, but this is my opinion, okay? And I'm not trying to offend you as I say it. But Angela Merkel completely ruined Germany by making it not self-sustainable. Germany at some point was able to produce almost anything by itself. Germany right now has a crappy military. Germany has no nuclear power plants anymore, and most of its economy is so dependent on Russia that Scholz is like kissing Putin's butt and tiptoeing around Putin, because he understands that the second Russia is sanctioned, German economy is going to be like, and he's going to have to figure it out. And he's doing everything he possibly can in order to avoid that happening, because that means that then he's going to have to figure out how to fix German economy without it being dependent on Russia. So it's like, okay, I understand that Scholz is in a pickle where he understands the German economy is so fragile right now because of Russia and because how much dependent on Russia it is, that he would like to avoid what's happening to Russia happening, because then it will also severely affect Germany. But it's like, dude, do you not see that maybe it's not a great idea to have your economy literally depend on a terrorist state? Maybe this is your sign to take your country into your own hands and maybe fix it up so in the future you're not in this garbage situation again. Because Germany is fully capable of doing all of these things by themselves. But, you know, long term or short term, their economy is going to take a hit. And Scholz is like, oh, crap, no. And Germans are not going to like me. They're not going to re-elect me because they're going to blame me for it. But it's like, oh, dude, they wouldn't blame you for it if you actually took action and started acting now. Because at the end of the day, you're going to have to figure it out. And you might want to start now instead of defending Russia or tiptoeing it around it, because you're going to have to anyway. And instead of like waiting for months on end, hoping that maybe people are going to forgive Russia just so you can have your economy back and just so you can use your cheap gas and cheap oil, like, dude, start figuring out how to bring Germany back to the point where Germany is self-sufficient. Maybe that's a good idea rather than tiptoeing around Putin. So yeah, obviously Scholz will never watch this stream, but if he by some means does, maybe do that. And bitte sehr for all of the advice. Oi. Sorry. Also, this was so emotional that now I'm sweating. So let me go take this off. I don't want to take it off on camera because I don't want TikTok to assume that I'm taking clothes off. So, give me one moment. I'll be back. Sin, what are you doing, little lady? What are you doing? Okay. Gremlin. Okay. I'm back. Alrighty. It's not that kind of site, Yulia. Exactly. But see, I don't want TikTok to assume that I'm trying to turn it into that kind of site. But then again, I don't know how many of you follow me on Instagram. I received the creepiest message of my life. Like the absolute creepiest one. First of all, it was sent to me, John Aravosis, and a bunch of other creators that speak about Ukraine that I personally don't know. And it was basically like, hello, Yazis, hello, CIA workers, whatever. And the whole thing was the largest farce of my life. It was so laughable. And he was like, the truth is going to come out and you are going to pay for all of the propaganda that you're spreading. And then he sent some YouTube link to a separatist talking about what's really happening in Ukraine, which is their freaking Russian propaganda. And I was like, and he was like, the truth is coming out. And I'm like, okay, well, sure. But then, it would be laughable if underneath all of that men did not completely sexualize me and tell me that he, first of all, the name of that account is Lou Hammer, and we've blocked that account months ago. And so he has been silently sitting on my streams and watching me speak. And according to him, I rub my t-shirt on my nipples nightly and it turns him on. Which the fact that I did not projectile vomit from that specific statement is surprising to me. First off, second off, let's think about it logically, because okay, well, I mean, hey, sir, if you would like to rewatch all of my streams with the ones where I wasn't doing anything on them and pay $1,000 for just rewatching them, well, sir, I will put them on OnlyFans and you can pay $1,000 a month to just rewatch my streams. The regular ones, if that's your thing, sure, I'll take $1,000 for it. But here is a thing that if we think about it logically, because it's creepy, yeah, and he probably wanted to target me because sexualizing women and objectifying women and stuff like that is kind of what usually brings women down on the internet, right? It doesn't concern me. If you are here, sir, all I want to say to you is that you're disgusting. You're disgusting, you're miserable. The fact that you think that that I spread propaganda and you still spend 2 to 3 hours of your life daily watching my streams is man, what's wrong with you? But the last thing that I want to say about it, right, is so let's say logically, this dude wanted to be taken seriously, right? He was like, I know your secrets. You get paid for CIA for spreading propaganda, and I'm the only one who knows the truth, and the truth is coming out, right? So you wanted to be taken seriously. And you decided that being a sexual predator at the end of the email that you sent to 10 people, singling me out and saying, oh, Yulia, particularly for you, being a sexual predator makes you sound more legitimate and makes any given one of us take you seriously, right? That's, yeah, logic. Unbreakable logic. All right, dude. Well, if you're here and you're still creeping onto my streams, well, let me let you know. God, you're pathetic. Thank you for that email. That was laughable. Anyways, a Russian helicopter was shot down near Mykolaiivka in Kherson region. Operational Command South. As of 13:00 on June 14th, the Russians lost another 16 soldiers, a tank, and 6 pieces of equipment. 3 cruise missiles launched from the Black Sea were shot down by the Air Force Armed Forces of Ukraine within an hour today during a mass alarm. 1 missile, presumably of the Caliber type, was shot down from a man pads in the area of responsibility of the Center Air Command. 2 more were shot down by anti-aircraft missile system in the area of responsibility of the West Air Command. It should be noted that the downed missiles were reported today in Ternopil, Lviv, Khmelnytsky regions. Also previously, the rocket was shot down in the Chernihiv region. We must use every opportunity to end the war, no matter how difficult, Zelensky, during an online press conference for the Danish media, told the conditions under which negotiations between Ukraine and Russia may take place. The president also spoke about the Russian-made narrative on the protection of Russian speakers, the crimes of the invaders, and what threatens to delay the supply of weapons to us. Sorry. Air defense shot down a missile in Ivano-Frankivsk region. Today, during an air alarm that lasted from 12:41 to 13:54, Russian air defense forces shot down a Russian missile in our region. Fortunately, there were no Russian air defense forces. No, I think it's our air defense forces that shot down a Russian missile. Aftermath of the missile strike on Dobropole, Donetsk region. According to the prosecutor's office, rescuers removed the body of the dead man from the rubble of one of the more than 20 destroyed houses. Information about other victims is being clarified. Russia's Gazprom cuts natural gas supplies through Nord Stream 1 pipeline by 40%. The Russian company has announced that it can transport only 100 million cubic meters of gas per day instead of the usual 167 million cubic meters. According to the Russians, this will happen due to untimely repairs by Siemens. Macron's visit to Ukraine not yet decided. Government spokeswoman Olivia Gregor said a possible visit by French President Emmanuel Macron to Kyiv was one of the several options currently under negotiation, and a firm decision has not yet been made. Of course it hasn't been. AFU destroyed a warehouse of Russian ammunition in the temporarily occupied Novakhovka. We have blood on our hands. We're financing the war. Arnold Schwarzenegger criticized Europe for trading with Russia. The 1,300 missiles that Russia fired at Ukrainian cities in the first 2 months of the war cost 7.7 billion euros. At the same time, Europe paid Russia 44 billion euros for fuel. Of course, the Russians are upset that they're losing all their soldiers and so much of their equipment, tanks, planes, and so on. But they say, hey, at least we don't have to pay for this war. Europeans are sending us money. They pay for the war. No matter what, we have blood on our hands because we're financing the war. We must stop lying to ourselves. We now have all the technology we need to leave fossil fuels in the past. We are indebted to Ukrainian children in bomb shelters. We are indebted to ourselves, said Iron Arnie, speaking at his home in Austria at a climate forum. Honestly, Arnold Schwarzenegger has been saying a lot of, like, the way that he's been conducting himself and what he has been saying is like, he seems to be one of the only few very sound minds. And he's been speaking out since the beginning of this war. And he has been really invested. And he has really, really, really taken a very strong stance. And I really respect him. Ready to be yeeted out of the stream? Because you are gonna be. What, ready for Azovstal number 2? Well, are you ready for the fact that your country is a garbage hole? Good luck. Consequences of a downed missile in the Ternopil region. Note that the wreckage fell in the field. Infrastructure is not affected. According to the Center for Strategic Communication, the appearance of the remains suggests that the Russians fired missiles of the old modification. Yeah, Arnold has been like calling people out on their he's been really calling like authorities in different European countries and in general around the world out. He has been like, hey, you know what you're doing. I know what you're doing. Everybody knows what you're doing. Stop doing it and pretending like you're helping. Germany intends to introduce an asset register to maximize the effectiveness of sanctions, including against Russian oligarchs. So maybe you should stop buying cheap Russian Ural gas and oil, maybe that. Russia's aggression against Ukraine has shown that sanctions must be more effective, especially against oligarchs abroad, said German Chancellor Olaf Scholz. Well, Olaf, you know what would be super effective if you stopped buying Russian gas by the dozen. Cheap Russian Ural gas. Meanwhile, Russia has imposed sanctions on 49 British citizens. Oh no. They're going to be so sad. What are they going to do? They really wanted to go back to Russia. You know, especially the Brits. They love Russia. They have been showing how much they love Russia since the beginning of this war, you know, like, because they haven't been super outspoken about how much they hate it and how much they don't support it. You know, yeah, the Brits are going to be so sad that they have been sanctioned by Russia. Oh no. Moment of silence for that. Okay, I'm done. Transport visa-free travel with the EU. Ukraine will sign a special agreement by the end of June. According to Deputy Minister of Infrastructure Mustafa Nayyem, the final version of the special agreement on liberalization of road transport has been agreed with the European Commission delegation. In short, the signing of this agreement will be as important for carriers as the abolition of visas with EU countries, Nayyem said, almost 42%. Scorched earth. The city of Previlla or Prevolye, Luhansk region. This is what the part of the city that was attacked by the Russian invaders looks like. Hi, Yam. Thank you for joining the YouTube community. Yeah, it's really, really awesome. Russia plans to divide all of Ukraine into districts. At the Economic Forum in St. Petersburg, the Russians showed a scheme of administrative territorial division of Ukraine in the event of its occupation. The Kremlin's propaganda media claimed that this is a map of the dismemberment of the former Ukraine. The scheme is designed for a transitional period, 3 to 5 years. The map shows that Russia wants to capture Ukraine and completely subjugate it to the so-called districts, Western Territorial District and Central Territorial District. Other districts are not visible on the photo. Meanwhile, the Pentagon believes that Putin wants to seize most, if not all, of Ukraine, but Russia will not achieve this. No, like if Russia literally tries to occupy most of Ukraine, I better hope that NATO is going to fucking put boots on the ground. Because at this point, like Russia has shown exactly what they want to do. And countries being in denial publicly is like, okay, so you're either telling the whole world that you're stupid and that your government literally has no ability to do research or critically think, or you're just denying it because you want to avoid taking action for as long as possible, which both of these cases are pretty bad. Both of them. And one of them is just hypocritical. And that's the route that you're taking. Putin to proclaim a new world order and speech. An extremely important speech by the president of the Russian Federation is expected at the Economic Forum. This is how Putin's speaker, Dmitry Peskov, announced Putin's speech. The media in Russia even reported that Putin could proclaim a new world order. The article is mainly about the economic aspects of sanctions. The forum itself will be held from 15th to 18th of June. The speech of the president of the Russian Federation is scheduled for June 17th. Note that the Neue Ordnung, or New Order, is the political system that the regime of Nazi Germany wanted to establish in the territories it occupied. You know, whenever Ukrainian, in the beginning of this, was literally telling the world, this is exactly what's going to happen, and this is what this sick piece of garbage wants, people were like, no, you're crazy. Yeah, well, we're here now. And not stopping him and not reacting and postponing the reaction and tiptoeing around him is only allowing him and his country of sick individuals to keep doing this. There are 2,000 nuclear warheads in the world ready for use, military expert Oleg Zhdanov. In the world, 2,000 nuclear warheads are on alert and ready for combat use. It is enough to give an order and the missile will fly with a nuclear warhead to the target that is indicated to it. And he added that on the one hand, this increases the level of thunderstorms for all mankind, but on the other hand, the greater the threat, the less likely it will happen. The families of the defenders of Azovstal appealed to the international media with a call to visit the colony in Olenivka in the occupied territory in order to find out about the conditions of stay and the condition of the defenders of Mariupol. Many of the relatives were not able to communicate with the fighters after the Ukrainian military left Azovstal. Volodymyr Zelensky's new address. We keep telling our partners that Ukraine needs modern anti-missile weapons. Our country does not have enough of it yet. But it is in our country and right now that Europe has the greatest need for such weapons. Thank you so much. Procrastination with its provision cannot be justified. I will constantly emphasize this when talking to our partners. We made the first requests for anti-missile systems long before the full-scale invasion. And this week, there will be many different talks, and not only with European politicians who are able to provide Ukraine with modern anti-missile systems. Our air defense managed to cut the wings of Russian missiles, but only part of it was shot down. There are casualties and destruction. Ukraine needs modern anti-missile weapons. Held talks with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, President of Ecuador, too. Army logistics checks are expected. Checks on what is being supplied and how personal protective equipment is distributed. Everyone in the war zones should have enough of everything necessary for protection. There have been no cardinal changes in the battle in Donbass over the past day. The most brutal fighting in Severodonetsk and districts. Losses are painful. Gotta hold on. Painful losses in the Kharkiv region, where the Russian army is trying to strengthen its positions. The battles for this direction continue. We continue to put pressure on the occupiers in the south of the country. The key goal is the liberation of Kherson, and we will move towards this step by step. Another 63 servicemen received state awards for bravery and efficiency in defending the state. In total, already 18,453. Russia killed 3 residents of the Donetsk region over the past day. On June 14th, due to the shelling by the Russian army, 2 people died in Novoukrayinka and 1 in Dobropole. Another 4 people were injured. In total, since February 24th, more than 500,000 civilians in the Donetsk region have been killed by Russian shells. The photo shows the consequences of a missile airstrike carried out by Russian invaders on the night of June 13th to 14th. A man was unalived. 3 houses were completely destroyed, 29 more partially, said the head of the Donetsk Army, Pavlo Kyrylenko. Severodonetsk, Luhansk region, empty city, destroyed building, burning Azot plant, where about 500 civilians with children are still hiding. If I was CIA, you wouldn't know. right? And this is the last thing that I have for today in terms of news. Thank you guys for being here. As always, thank you for everything that you do, and thank you for caring about Ukraine. Thank you for caring about me. Thank you for every single one of you that has been here since day one, since day two, since day 100, since whenever you've joined. Thank you for caring about Ukraine. Thank you for wanting to learn more. Thank you, Tammy. Also, thank you to all of you who have gotten Cine or me things that make this channel easier from the Amazon wishlist. And thank you for getting things for Cine just because they are cute and basically all of the Cine things are treats. So yeah, call Yulia when in trouble. And thank you for just being so sweet and kind and so generous and so supportive and caring about, first and foremost, caring about my country so much, genuinely. And thank you for sticking around. Thank you for not forgetting about Ukraine. Thank you for continuously learning. You have no idea how sweet it is when you learn Ukrainian and you come in here and you're like, hey, look at this word I learned. I never thought that there would be so many people in the world learning my language. It's honestly so heartwarming and so humbling. And I don't have to tell you how much I appreciate and love you guys. You are amazing. And but I just want you to know that not a single one of you is being taken for granted, and that the reason why I have this platform and the reason why so many people hear about Ukraine and the reason why so many people are able to find out more is because of you. It's because of your engagement, it's because of the fact that you stay, it's because of the fact that you share the posts. And I would just like to tell you that, you are the main driving force behind the fact that people still care about Ukraine, behind the fact that this news is still spreading, and behind the fact that people are still finding out about Ukraine. So thank you very, very, very much, and you guys are amazing. And thank you from the bottom of my heart, because without you, there wouldn't be this platform, and without this platform, less people would know about Ukraine. And thank you so much for facilitating it and for letting this information be heard. Thank you. You're the best. Thank you for everything that you do. And let me thank you, Angela. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kay. Let me, I know that, before I leave, I'm going to bring out Cine, because, what kind of end of life is it without sleeping Cine? Cine, hey, Gremlin. Hey, Gremlin. Hey, baby frog. Hello. Hello. Oh, yes, she's always sleepy queen. Thank you, Jen. Oh my god, yes, this dinosaur looks like Cine to me. I'm gonna call it Cinesaur. Yes, it's a French bulldog. Cinesaur. Hey, Gremlin. I can't even kiss you today. Hi, Val. I can't even kiss you because I have lipstick. Cine had so many treats today. Cine got doggy macarons from Amazon as a present. And Cine, anytime I pulled out the macaron, like, I would show it to you again, because some people got to see it earlier today, but it's like she had 3 and it's a lot of treats. But literally any single time I would pull it out, she would like lose her marbles. She was so crazy about it. She was just like, oh my god, give me. And I kept being like, Cine, sit. And she was just like, look, I can't sit. What about Russian propaganda that you were watching? Go on to Nigerian embassy website and see how Nigeria addressed their incompetence in taking their students out of Ukraine. Ukraine apologized for what could have happened on Ukrainian side that might have made it more difficult for non-Ukrainian citizens to cross the border. However, if you know anything about how international law works, people who are citizens of the country are given priority when they're leaving the country due to the war. Women and children are given first priority. Elderly are given priority. People with disabilities are given priority, then men, and then everybody else, or rather than everybody else and men. And Nigeria addressed it on their page because Nigeria did not give adequate help to their residents in order to evacuate them from Ukraine. Because any foreign national is dependent on their country and on the embassy of their country in order to leave a war zone. And Ukraine still apologized. And here's the thing, a clearance to enter Europe without visas was given to Ukrainian citizens, not to citizens of other countries and other nationals, because that's their embassy had to figure it out for them. And their embassies also told them weeks in advance to leave the territory of Ukraine due to possible war actions. And they didn't. Does Cindy snore? Of course she snores. Of course she snores. When she puts her head up like this to sleep, she snores so much. So snores. It was not at the Ukrainian border that they were having issues. It was at the Polish border. It's just that everybody was saying, oh, Ukrainian border, but like it was actually the border to enter EU. And also it was like isolated instances. I think in total there were less than 20 cases of people who experienced difficulties. And then the rest didn't. 20 cases out of like millions of people who were fleeing are nothing. Bubiki. Hey. Yeah. Hello. What's up? Who is making the weirdest noises on the planet? Sinister. Sinister. Okay. I'm gonna go put... Oh, okay. Yeah, I got it. I got it, baby. I got it. Okay, say bye. Say bye, Shinny. Say bye. Shinny's like, leave me alone. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Angela. Wait, come on. Oh my god, you should have seen this. I just literally dropped her on the bed, like lightly on her back, and she just stayed like that. Alrighty. Okay, guys. I'm gonna try, I know I said this before, but I'm gonna try and do like a morning coffee live tomorrow, where we can talk, because I see that some of you who are new here, Bonoch, some of you who are new here, you ask me like personal questions, and I would rather answer them on like a little coffee time thing than answer them during a news live. And now it's almost midnight, and I just want to kind of go to bed and finish some stuff that I need to finish pertaining to the shop and to other things. So thank you so much, and I will see you guys tomorrow, and I will try to do a morning live tomorrow. Wish me luck. Alrighty. Bye-bye. Good night. Yeah, thank you. I'm happy that you, thank you, Yum, for facilitating it looking so nice. Okay. Good night, guys. Have a good one. Boom. Wait. Wait. Bye, guys. And